It takes two, right? I mean, we all know that. But how do you save a marriage if only one is trying? You're going to get 9 specific hacks to do that. Marriage is a team sport, and that's why this is such a frustrating topic. If you're working on it yourself, if you're not getting much help from your spouse, there's still hope. There's a lot of reasons why this is true. I've heard so many times that marriage is a 50-50 proposition, right? You've heard that too. You do your half, I'll do mine. We'll meet in the middle. You know, there's all of these different analogies that we use for it. 50-50 doesn't work. I have honestly not seen that work well, because let's be honest about it. You're doing your half, aren't you? Yeah, that can be so frustrating. Here's something that I've found that works so much better. Let's change the ratio. How about 95-5? 95-5 is the hardest thing that I ask people to do when I'm doing marriage coaching. It honestly is probably the most difficult thing that I'm going to ask you to do in this video as well. And that is to assume that this is 95% on you. And we're only expecting about 5% from your spouse. I know, kind of frustrating on the surface, but let me share with you why this works. First of all, you don't have any control over your spouse, do you? He is going to do what he's been doing. She is going to continue to act the way she's been acting. You don't have any control over their behavior. We're getting back to where you do have control, and that's yourself. And honestly, that's hard enough. But that's where you have some control. 95-5. You know what? Anybody with a pulse can do 5%. What that means is your spouse is already doing enough. I know this is about where people turn off the video, but stay with me, because if you take that position, you're in a position of power now where you can actually do something. As long as you're waiting for or expecting or hoping that your spouse does something, it's going to frustrate you and it's going to annoy your spouse. So in your mind, you create a new mindset that says, I am 95% responsible for this relationship. Take it on right here, personally. Now, it's going to be tempting for you to think, I know you're going to do this because I do it too. You're going to think, you know what? Things would just be so much better if my spouse would just... Yeah, then fill in the blanks. You know why you're going to think that? Because you're right. It would be better if your spouse would just straighten up. But that's not useful. Because as soon as you identify what they can change, they get all defensive and feel criticized. Notice that this is true. Focus on your own responsibility, at least 95%, and then we can do something about it. Now, what are you going to do with your 95%? That's where the hacks come in. 9 hacks. 9 surefire marriage hacks. Here they are. I'm not even going to spend a lot of time on each one. I'm just going to give them to you. Hack number 1, positivity. You put yourself in a positive position. If you need some help with that, we got a whole bunch of videos here that are going to help you with that. So dive into those. Here on the Positive Personal Development playlist, you'll find what I'm talking about. Stay positive. Hack number 2, values. Get clear about the values that drive this thing in the first place. Why did you create this? Little disclaimer. Sometimes it's easy to forget about all of the reasons why you came together in the first place when you're in a conflict or when you've got problems that you're dealing with. Put those aside long enough to remember that you had some very good reasons based on values and purpose that you got into this in the first place. Remember that. Get focused on the values. Hack number 3, humility. Humility and the willingness to change. One of the things that gets us in the trouble the most is that we know we're right. Yeah, it's not that you think you're right. You know you're right. And because your spouse does too, this is what's creating the conflict. It's all about who's right instead of what's right. Remember hack number 2 about values. That's what's right. Humility. Tune into it. Hack number 4, forgiveness. This is your willingness to allow other people to change. It's not holding them hostage by their past behavior. Forgiveness is giving up your demand for a better past. Hack number 5, respect. I still remember a group that I ran years ago with a group of juvenile delinquents that were referred by the court. We were talking about respect. One of these kids, hat on sideways, he's got a bolt through his nose and he's got all this attitude and he says, "I respect those who respect me." And I'm thinking, oh wow, that's really mature. What if you were to respect others because you are a respectful person? Has nothing to do with them. Why do I respect you? Because that's who I am. Do you see how much more powerful that is? All right, let's move to hack number 6. Love. Choose love. Every interaction you have with your spouse is going to be on the love side or the hate side. And I picked the word hate because people hate that word. What's the opposite of love? Honestly, you get to choose. Is my interaction with this person going to be a love choice or a hate choice? Choose love. Hack number 7, compassion. Compassion's kind of like love, but I think it adds this kindness element where we really have empathy and experience a surge of kindness toward that person. Notice that these hacks don't depend on your spouse, do they? No. And I know, I warned you about this up front. When we go through these hacks, you're going to notice that your spouse could be doing a better job with probably all of these. And even though that's true, it's not useful. Remember the 95-5, you stay focused on yourself. Here's hack number 8. Work. Be ready for some good old-fashioned hard work. It's going to take some. Don't be afraid of it. Hack number 9, wholesome recreation. Yeah, have some fun. Even if you have to do it yourself, you take care of elevating your own mood. These 9 hacks, in my experience, are absolutely consistent and can change the outcomes. And you don't even need the input from your spouse. 9 hacks. Well, there you go. And there's more resources here in the Positive Relationships Resources playlist. Check it out.
I saw